Hello and welcome back to Autumn Rain Reads and happy Pride Month. Today I'm going to recommend some casual Pride Month reads. By casual, I mean that the main character happens to be gay, and yes, maybe that's a big part of the story, but it's not the story. I know that as a black person, sometimes, not of late, but definitely in the past, I've gone to the library and felt like the books available that were about black people were very limited. Like, you were either reading about a black person doing hip hop or something, or like they were a slave, or something in that vein. You just didn't have that many options. And I noticed that for LGBTQ reads, it's kind of the same thing, not of late, but for a long time. And so if you don't necessarily want to read a book about someone coming out, you just want a little bit more variety, then this is going to be the perfect video for you. So the first book I have to recommend is In the Otherland by Sarah Brennan. Now, if you watched my May wrap-up video, you already know that I love this book. But what you don't know is that the main character is bi. Unless he's pansexual. Honestly, don't know. But it is fantastic, and the story is not really focused on his sexuality, but you know, it does come into play. It's a part of the story, but it's not the story. And guys, this book is so amazing. Just in case you didn't watch my May wrap-up video, I'm gonna go over it. So it's about this boy named Elliot. He goes into this giant field and he can see this wall, and there's someone with him, like his teacher, right? He's like, oh my gosh, you can see the wall? That means you get to go over the wall. And Elliot's like, oh, what's over the wall? Over the wall are mermaids, harpies, elves, and all different types of creatures, like this total fantasy land. So he travels across, and there's like more to this land than it seems. Like there's like a ton of wars and stuff, and so he ends up joining a counseling course so that he can make treaties and try to end some of these wars, and like these, you know, this constant fighting, and like there's a really great plot here. But the reason you read this book is for the personality, the voice, right? This guy, he has like a very caustic kind of personality, Sherlock Holmes-esque, you know, insults people but in a really funny way, like where you're laughing but you're just happy you're not on like the other side of that. Guys, this book is so good. It has romance, it has plot, it has setting, it has everything that you need, and I 100% recommend it. This would be the perfect Pride Month read. The next book I have to recommend is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I'm gonna be honest with you, this book traumatized me, deeply scarred me, but it was beautiful. So the two main characters are both guys. Yes, they are gay, but that is not the main point of the story. They live in this world where there is such a thing as a death cast, and if you get a death cast, that means that you're going to die, like that day. And so our main character receives a death cast and knows like this is the day that he's going to die. And he meets up with another boy who is also going to die, and it's like super unfair, and you really feel for them. And when they meet up, they decide to go out and live this last day and like try to live as much life as possible. And as they go on this journey together, you are just so moved, and it is so beautiful, and you really like, you can see just how vibrant life it can be. And I think I remember like all the plot for this book, like every detail, even though I read it years ago. It was so impactful. And so if you really want to be moved by a book or possibly changed by a book, this is the perfect read for you. But don't be like me, because I thought that maybe they wouldn't die at the end. But they do. They both die at the end. So it's sad, but it is gorgeous. One of the best things I've ever read, and maybe will be one of the best things you've ever read too. The next book I have to recommend to you is not actually a book, it's a webtoon that I read on the Webtoon app. Obviously not sponsored by Webtoon, but I have to recommend this story. It's called Always Human, and it's about two girls who live in a technologically advanced world where people can change anything about themselves, from their skin color, to their eye color, to their hair, to everything. Like, you could become a dragon if you wanted to in this world. Except one of the two girls in this relationship can't do any of that because she's allergic to the nanobiotech that is required for all these modifications. And so this is a story about, these two girls' love stories and how they can overcome the disparity in privilege between them. This story is so much more deep than I can convey. It covers a broad variety of issues and it has a ton of representation, and honestly, that's my favorite type of story. A story that's deep, meaningful, fun, and can represent people without putting them into a box. And if that's something that interests you, you should go and read Always Human. And honestly, the word to describe this webtoon is wholesome. Oh my gosh, it is so wholesome. You smile at just how sweet it is. Have you guys ever read those stories? I'm sure you have, where you're reading and you're just oh, oh. I swear, that's how I was on every single episode. And oh, beyond that, the artwork is beautiful. There's a watercolor pictures to go with every single, line. And if I were you, I would go and read Always Human. This is also going to be the perfect Pride Month read. That's it for the list of books I'm recommending. Now I know it's short, but I only want to recommend hard hitters, books that you're going to be thinking about for a long time. That said, I do have 2 honorable mentions. Number 1 is Two Boys Kissing. This is about 2 boys who set out to break the World Guinness record for the longest kiss. It is really good. I think it was published in 2017, so you might have already read it, but I remember I really liked this book. It stuck with me, and it was quite good. The second book is If I Was Your Girl. This is about a transgender woman who goes to a new high school, and when she's there, everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful, you're so pretty. She's the prettiest girl in school, right? And she ends up getting the hottest guy, and everything is going great. It seems like, she's on top of the world, but she knows that if someone was to find out her secret, everything would be ruined because people are jerks, especially in high school. And so you're reading this book with delight for her, but also with this kind of tight tension in your chest. So it's a typical high school read, but it's more. And I have to say, I think the resolution was pretty satisfying. And if you're looking for another really solid book for Pride Month, this would be a good pick. Last but not least, I want to go over my own planned reads for the month. So first on the list is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. This is highly recommended by Clockwork Reader and is the main reason I want to read it. From what I know, I believe it's about 2 boys and the story follows them as they grow up and, go through life together. And that very much interests me, mostly because I hear it's going to be very impactful and I'm looking for something that's going to stick. The next book I'm going to read is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. I hear this is Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda meets the 1700s, and the description reads that it's about a roguish gentleman who wants to spend a hedonistic summer or year flirting with his crush. And I'm kind of excited to read it because it just seems really fun. And in the second book, I think he runs away with the guy he likes. So, I'm in it for a good time. And the third book I want to read is Cemetery Boys. I believe this one is relatively new, published in 2020 or even 2021. And it's about a trans boy who wants to prove his gender to his Latin family, very traditional Latin family. And in order to do this, he ends up summoning a ghost. So, very interesting. I'm very excited. And let's go read some LGBTQ friendly books. Also, disclaimer, these are my recommendations as a straight woman. If you really want to get into the Pride Month spirit, you should go watch a Booktube video by someone who's a part of the LGBTQ community. I'll leave some Booktuber names and tags that you can search in the description. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy my recommendations and happy Pride Month. I'll see you next time. Bye!